completely different.
It's time for Hoppe's Inbox, only on Hoppe Hour with Ryan Hoppe.
The trolls were out this weekend. It must have been all the nerds that comment on my videos. It must have been because it was Halloween weekend, because Halloween's on a Thursday. It must have all dressed up as trolls. Oh, wait, that's right. They dress up like that every day. Because that's their identity. Getting mad over radio shows in 2024. You sound like a fun person I want to hang out with. So, before we get to the comment, I'll be honest. Not all my YouTube videos slap, as the Gen Z kids say, even though I'm a millennial. Some videos have thousands of views. Some have 4. But that's what you get from doing a homegrown guerrilla marketing radio show. Is not everything's going to take over. But I'm also on in 9 radio stations, 4 platforms that are podcasting networks, and in every single app. So I love when I get comments like this. And I'm not trying to brag like, oh, I'm on all these networks. It's just a matter of fact. It's just hilarious because everybody's like, oh, you got one right here. 0.0. You literally get 0.0 videos. But it was a rant I did about COVID-19 because I hate when people like Adam Carolla or Howard Stern still talk about it. And I was kind of ranting about how like we need to move on from COVID. And I don't think anybody's really looking up COVID anymore. But I was proud of that rant. And also, I'm not trying to get famous off of YouTube. I'm only an audio show. I barely show my face. I'm just doing pictures. I mean, I look at like the podcast Legion of Skanks having to change their name because they're, I forget the name of the show. It was the Real Ass Podcast. That's what it was. And Louis J. Gomez changed it to Zach or whatever, Zach and Louis, because they're afraid of getting demonetized on YouTube. I say some pretty outspoken things here. I have a job during the day. I'm fine. I don't need to be YouTube famous. Would I want 1 million listeners? Of course, but I do great. Just on YouTube, sometimes I have 4 views. So the go-to insult now is that, oh, you have 4 views. Yeah, not everybody is taking off on YouTube right away. And then they'll go, oh, well, who are these podcasts, that podcast you're at war with? They have more views than you. Yeah, because they talk about Stuttering John, talk about Tom Myers, talk about Howard Stern, they talk about Opie. They talk about things that people are Googling. People that claim to be a fan of that podcast just miss old Opie and Anthony. And if you're a fan of making fun of other people for entertainment, you're not someone I want to hang out with. You're probably a deadbeat dad. You're probably a dude who's like a former criminal, or you're just a loser in life living off the government. Because that's the type of people that would find bullying to be entertaining in 2024. So you can kiss my tall ass. Also here, 18 views or 70 downloads. Oh, I love the 70 download thing. Let me explain to my audience that hasn't heard Cleveland radio. Let me explain to them the 70 downloads. Because a lot of people will message me and be like, why are you getting that comment on your social media for the last 9 years? So, I worked for Rover's Morning Glory in Cleveland 10 years ago. And I got fired for getting blackout drunk at a bar crawl. Even though everybody else at the show has like an arrest. But me getting blackout drunk, a little bit. So I get fired, moved to Tampa, and I interview his rival. He was heard in Rochester, New York, Rover is. And I interview his rival named Brother Weeze, who's never lost to him in the ratings. Brother Weeze is the king of northern New York radio. And he's one of my good friends. And in this interview from 9 years ago, he goes, I see you're not with Rover anymore. What happened? And I say something like, well, you know, it wasn't meant to be. Some of the listeners keep listening. And I get about 70 downloads during the show. This is pre-speech coach. So when I said 70 downloads, I said 70 downloads. So then Rover took that audio and played it the next day. So people think I only have 70 downloads. It's like riveting radio, making fun of other people. That's amazing. Again, There are people who have worked on radio shows as long as I've worked on them that are forgotten about. And honestly, I enjoy the hate. I enjoy doing Hoppe's Inbox. It's fun. Because you would never say it to my face. I've had one person say something rude to my face. He was drunk in Cleveland and he said I was terrible on the radio, and I appreciated it. If I get recognized in public, everyone's like, I want a picture. I want to talk to you. What's my Kelto like? No one ever says any of this. You're all a bunch of anonymous trolls. And if you think it's bothering me, it's not. It's giving me content to talk about. Because every other radio show, Howard Stern, they all read their emails that are only positive. There's not one radio show that reads negative emails. Rover didn't want to read negative emails. We weren't even allowed to put it in the pile next to him. Only positive. This is the only radio show that you're going to get that addresses the trolls. So people out there, oh, you're jealous, or who are these podcasts? I've seen shows like that happen. It's called Opie and Anthony, where you make fun of everyone else, but then your audience ends up turning on you, and then you end up losing the show and everyone hates you. And that's what's going to happen to them. Everyone's like, oh, you're taking the Stuttering John approach because you're talking about people. I do this for 9 minutes. My show is 2 hours. I don't talk about it the whole time. I don't do live videos begging for money. If I was really pathetic, I could be like the people that do live videos, Steel Till Morning Show, Stuttering John. Chad Zumak doesn't do it, but going, I need money, donate money to me, anonymous. I don't do that. I have a little bit of credibility. I don't have a lot of credibility, but I have enough credibility within myself to not beg anonymous trolls for $5. I'm just going to end up using it on, never mind. 856-49-HOPPY. It's 856-494-6773. And then we got a comment about my video that has just 4 views. I'm kidding. It has a few thousand. About Kayla Nicole, the ex-girlfriend of Travis Kelce, who despises me. It says here, and this is from Steven0209. Kayla Nicole it says here, she isn't able saying he is in a new relationship. This is bad grammar. It is still a situationship for her. She got called out by Swifties because she liked posts about shading Taylor. She is stuck in her head and unable to move on. TK is still her man. She was relevant by his side and got attention. The best time of her life so far was when Kayla Nicole dated Travis Kelce. Ignoring there were on and off of 5 years where he was cheating on her all the time and they broke up in 2022. He didn't propose because he didn't love her enough. His dad said that in an interview. Almost 3 years later, she is still hurt. He is going strong with Taylor and she is living in the past, ignoring reality. And that is the most well thought out comment I have gotten about Kayla Nicole. Here's the thing. I've gone through 2 bad breakups. People know about them. People come up to me and ask me about them. I'm like, how much of a sociopath are you that you care about a radio DJ's breakup? Anyway, there's that moment where you think about it and you realize that your ex, you know, all the tricks they brought in the bedroom. Oh, they didn't use teeth. Oh, they let you spank that butt. They're doing that with another guy or girl, and they are glad that they're not doing that with you. I was on a radio show 5 years ago, and I told the girl, it was a weekend show, I told her to stop talking about her ex, because while she's thinking about him, he's going down on some girl. And that's the honest truth. It hurts everybody. Breakups suck. It really does. But Kayla Nicole, you know how Travis really brought the ruckus in bed? Oh, he probably really brought it. He's given that to Taylor. There's actual real pictures of her with rug burn. Remember all the rug burn moment and all the top tier orgasms? Taylor's getting that now. That should be enough to make you want to move on. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody thinks about their ex, but they romanticize it. It's something I've done with therapy. It's something I've done with watching a video by Jocko about breakups. You paint in your head a picture of what you want your ex to be, but then there's the reality. And I wish all my exes nothing but the best. That's my go-to line to try to change the subject. But Kayla needs to really look herself in the mirror and go, I'm 31. My life is passing by before my eyes, and I'm talking about my 20s. Because everybody that's successful in life, it's not that they peak in their 20s, but the 20s is when you have no back pain. And that's a serious thing, when your body is amazing and you can eat whatever you want at 11:30 at night and drink beer and go to bed drunk and wake up at 9 a.m. and do it all over again. And the girls are young. I'm not creepy young, but in their early 20s, and you're within that age. But then there becomes a moment where you reach your 30s And then the girls that are like 21, 22, all of a sudden were in 5th grade when you were 21 and you start to get a little bit older. And Kayla Nicole either needs to become a cougar where she starts dating younger guys. She needs a Kristen Cavallari situation. You know how Kristen Cavallari dated that guy for like 7 months and he was banging around. He's all young and youthful. Kayla Nicole, I know I've been a complete dickhead making fun of you the last 6 months because you deserve it. You're a cloud-chasing imbecile, and I can't stand you. But I also have been through a lot of heartbreak, and I can give you good advice. You need some good sex. You just need someone to just, go to Plowtown. You know what I'm saying? That's all you need. Travis must have brought the ruckus. Oh, he must have just, taken over in the bedroom. And finally, and Hoppy's inbox, I'm not sure if this person wants me to read the DM, but whatever. I asked Mancow Moeller of Mancow's Morning Madhouse back in the day if he'd want to call in the Hoppy Hour. And I love this response. This response is actually better than probably interviewing Mancow anyway. No thanks. I am underground. I am enjoying life and living it to the fullest and off the grid by design. And I was like, no worries, you're a legend, blah, blah, blah. But that, to me, one of the inspirations in radio getting back to me, I think it was meant to be that I got that DM rather than an interview. Because I've had some interviews. I had one with Danny Bonaducci like 8-9 years ago. And this is when he was like #1 in Seattle with The Biggest Show. And I remember during the interview, he's like, we're about 20 minutes in. And he goes, oh, my wife says I got to go. Goodbye. And hung up. And then didn't like promote the interview. And the interview has a lot of listens, but that was probably an interview I didn't need to do because he couldn't really leave the situation, class. And I'm not saying Mancow would do that, but sometimes just hearing back from somebody is better than going through an interview that would have been forced. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? But in honor of one of the greatest radio shows of all time. And yes, I said it. All the online trolls copy what Opie and Anthony say about Mancow, where they're like, boo, boo, boo. That guy was the king of Chicago growing up and one of the main reasons I'm in radio. And to pay homage to one of the greats who deserves to be in the Radio Hall of Fame, here we go. We're going to go to break, but we're going to go back to the 90s when people had a sense of humor.
This is the theme to Mancow Show, the opening theme to Mancow Show. Mancow called me up and asked if I would write a theme song. I'm almost halfway finished. How do you like it so far? How do you like the theme to Mancow Show? This is the theme to Mancow Show, the opening theme to Mancow Show. He's the guy who makes you laugh when you're feeling lousy. We're almost to the part of where I start to whistle. Then you'll hear the Mancow Moeller Show. Welcome to the Mancow Moeller Show. Good morning. Time to get up and go to work.
And now, broadcasting live from the 37th floor of the John Hancock Building, from inside the cramped and dimly lit Rock 103.5 broadcast studios, it's the man who would be Cow, Mancow Moeller.
I just feel like the guy needs a little more respect in radio. He did his thing for a long time.
Happy Hour. Happy Hour.